Hey friends, happy Wednesday, the 7th of February. Nice to be with you. I'm Father Bill Hill, priest at Holy Spirit Catholic Community in Rock Springs, Wyoming. Using a little tech, we'll take a moment, we'll share a reflection on the daily readings. The readings are linked down below. Click the link, read the reading prayerfully, and then turn off the screen, spend some time with God before you move on to other things. We're 1 week away from Ash Wednesday and Lent. Oh boy, here we go. Just invite you to be thinking about what your plans are for Ash Wednesday. It is Valentine's Day as well. We have a 7 p.m. Mass out at Sweetwater County Event Center. We would love to pray with you out there. But just be giving that a thought. And certainly I'd ask you to just pray, especially for folks that might be distant from the church. Please pray for them that this time of Lent might be a grace time to draw nearer. Today we are working on stories about King Solomon. That'll be all this week. We are, I think today, first book of Kings, and then a gospel from Mark's gospel, all right? So today we have stories of the Queen of Sheba coming to visit King Solomon and marveling at his wisdom. Queen of Sheba probably is another kingdom with a similar name, Seba, Yemen, Ethiopia, parts of Egypt as well. But certainly this is one of the most famous of the stories of King Solomon and the Old Testament as well. And it has been commented on and a basis for stories for many, many different cultures and language groups. I appreciate kind of the middle of this, the detail of the wisdom that Solomon has, right? The palace he had built, the food at his table, the seating of his ministers, the attendants and garb of his waiters, because garb is important apparently, his banquet service, and the burnt offerings he offered in the temple of the Lord. She was breathless. So as we hear about the fame of Solomon, this isn't just about rejoicing that God made Solomon wise, because we're going to hear also about some of the failings of Solomon the next couple days. It's also meant to be a model for us, right? Hold up to us that desire for wisdom. And remember that in the Old Testament, wisdom is something that we gain from life experience, from failures, but also from contemplating and mulling over God's action in our lives, and especially coming to see the hand of God in places that seem to be far from God, distant from God, difficult in our own experience. So, it's one thing to rejoice in Solomon having wisdom. It's another thing to desire wisdom ourselves, but it's another thing as well to actively cultivate that disposition of heart to acquire wisdom. And I'd invite us to engage that, right? What might be something that's still difficult for you to integrate into your heart, something that you prefer not to reflect upon, something that you don't really want to share with God. I just invite you, maybe today that would be a place of reflection and opening up, and to give that to the Lord who integrates everything in Jesus Christ as he's bringing all things together in him. Okay. And the Gospel of Mark, right? This is a continuation of yesterday's Gospel. Jesus wound up in a dispute, an argument with the Pharisees, especially over washing hands and the fourth commandment. And so now Jesus turns and he gives a teaching to the crowd, right? Yeah, to the crowd and then to his disciples, saying, okay, remember this. We're talking about the law of Moses, which to the Pharisees, there were 610 different commandments of the law of Moses, covered every aspect of life. And it was especially about ritual impurity and offering sacrifice in the temple. The Pharisees seem to have thought that if all of the people would be pure like the priests were ritually pure, then that would help to create the coming of the Messiah and would bring independence and God's blessing upon the people Israel. So I just want to be clear about this ritual purity stuff, right? And so some of that is food law, dietary law. And here we hear Jesus say, comes into the mouth, passes through the stomach, goes out into the latrine. That's not what defiles us, right? What defiles us is what comes from the inside, from our heart, and then comes out. What is defiling us? What is defiling our relationships these days? What disposition of the heart, what attitude, what viewpoint is the Lord inviting us to look at today and to offer to the Lord, asking that the Lord might bring healing and solace and reconciliation in our lives? It's not the stuff out here, as much as we want it to be the stuff out here. It's the stuff in here. Stuff in here. May we offer that to the Lord and continue to walk the path of healing. All right, friends, happy Wednesday. Read those readings prayerfully. Turn off the screen. Spend some time with God. Be thinking about Ash Wednesday. Pray for peace in this world. Pray for folks that are having a hard time. God bless y'all.